big deal, but yeah, they've got a dummy that they have built. Here, you want to toss me that? Yeah, sure. You want to get a look at this bad boy?
Oh, you put it on?
You can.
That's a tight fit.
Allison Kay wouldn't earlier. She was afraid it'd mess up her makeup and her hair.
Yeah, my eyelashes are too long.
Yeah.
Like
they didn't. Did they even put eyelashes on me? They drew them on. They drew them on. Come on now.
You don't have any top eyelashes.
Guys, this is Jordynne Grace, or should I call you Trisha Parker?
Call me whatever you want. I'm fine with whatever.
Goddamn. Is that gonna make somebody mad?
Who would it make mad?
It might made a lot of people mad on the internet.
Okay, well, it's not gonna make me mad. Might make Cornette mad.
Might make Cornette mad. Do we need to move this mic a little bit closer to her? No. All right, cool. We're good.
I just moved it closer.
So you posted that. You put your real name out there.
I did.
That's bold. It's a brave move.
No, it's not. It was on Wikipedia.
Yeah.
It's been on Wikipedia for years.
I've had wrestlers that I've interviewed, and like I'll do the long forms on them, the long form features where I go in depth and stuff, and they'll be like, "Hey, can you remove my real name from that?" And I'm like, "It's out there," but they're like, "We still don't want people to know."
I think it's weird. I think it's weird that we don't know our coworkers' real names.
So, who do you call by their work name backstage that might surprise somebody?
By their work name?
Yeah.
Not their real name, their work name.
Yeah.
I call a lot of people by their work name because, like you just said, a lot of people don't like their real names being said out loud, which, like I said, I think is super strange.
So you prefer that? You prefer that?
I prefer the real name.
Yeah.
But if I don't know it, I'm going to call you what I know you as.
So, but I mean, like, you can see the gray area because we've seen like CM Punk do interviews and he's like, "Why are people coming up to me calling me Phil and all that stuff?" And he's just kind of known as that. And in the MMA spectrum, a lot of people gave him grief. They're like, "Well, why are you going by CM Punk?" Not realizing that lots of people use nicknames. Mirko Krokop, Chet Congo, they all use nicknames professionally and personally.
Yeah, I understand that, but I think that wrestling is also in a period of transition. Mm-hmm. So I definitely think it's going to take like some getting used to. And I'm not saying that I have everything like figured out, but I'm saying like if fans come up to me and call me Trisha outside of the ring, I'm totally okay with that.
Yeah, you're not going to be mean to them.
Yeah,
over that.
No, definitely not. I think it's totally fine. It's just like I wouldn't go up to, who is it? Robert Downey Jr. and call him
Iron Man.
Yeah, I think it's strange.
Tony Stark. So, I mean, wrestling is in that unusual area of where, because a lot of people say, "Oh, well, why can't you do stuff in wrestling that you do on Breaking Bad?" And I'm like, well, if Jordynne Grace goes out and cooks meth on an Impact show, she's got an audience of witnesses she's playing to. Yeah. Like, there's a little bit of difference.
I mean, I guess technically we could, right?
Because you could.
People know I'm presumably not really cooking meth.
Yes.
Right?
Well, that's the thing. But, I mean, you're playing to presumable witnesses that you reference on the show. Like, Lucha Underground, I kind of understood. Like, on Lucha Underground, there was no, like, show on El Rey or anything. Mm-hmm. They pretended it was in its own world. Like, how do you tiptoe around that stuff? Because you get into controversial angles and stuff, and there's some stuff that people will see as entertainment, but there's some stuff that people are like, "Oh, I can't believe they would dare to do that."
I think people need to understand that it's all a show.
Yeah.
I think that's the main thing that people need to understand, that is that it's a show, and I think it's pretty rare that people are like doing stuff for real. And if I do something in the ring that people don't like, I don't think they need to like put that together with my personality outside of wrestling. Like, I'm not a bad person because it's something I pretend to do. Like, this whole Scott Steiner smacking me on the ass thing.
Yeah, that blew up.
Dude, like, it's ridiculous how many people are saying, like, "Oh, you fell for everything you used to stand for. It's sexual harassment." How is it sexual harassment if I have agency over my own body and someone asks me if they can do something in a show and I say yes?
And it's you playing a role, right?
Exactly. Like, I just don't understand how people can say it's sexual harassment when I gave permission for that to happen.
So, I mean, when you look at that and it is somebody playing a role, has there been anything that you've heard and you've been like, "Nah, I'm not doing that. That's too much."
Yeah, that wrestlers have asked to like kiss me in the ring, like stuff like that, and of course I'm going to say no because I think my fiance would have an issue with it. Even though it is a show, I just still wouldn't do it out of respect for him. And I know there's a lot of actors and actresses who also don't do sex scenes just because of how it looks on them.
How many tweets did you get when your contract status was a little bit up in the air that was like, "Oh, well, she's definitely going to Ring of Honor because that's where her fiance works"?
A million.
Because I got several, and Like, I don't think I'd ever spoken to you publicly at that point. So I was like, man, she has to be getting a ton of those because people just assume, oh, well, she's going there because she can't be happy anywhere else.
There was a lot of speculation about where I was going, but most people thought that I was probably going to go to Ring of Honor just because that's where Jon is, obviously.
And, I mean, he's got a big hand in that with the dojo and a lot of that. But, I mean, why do you think it is that people, for some reason, think that wrestlers in different companies can't coexist in a relationship like that?
I have honestly no idea. I think it's because like maybe the companies are competing with each other.
Yeah.
So maybe there's like some kind of discord in the relationship because of that. But there's nothing like that between me and Jon because I don't really feel that Ring of Honor and Impact are directly competing. Ring of Honor is its own niche, or it used to be. It still can be, and they need to get back to that. But I think Impact is doing something totally different. They're doing intergender wrestling, and they have like this whole like liberal thing going on.
I look at women's wrestling and Impact, and I'm like, man, that's the marquee attraction right now with the people. I think Kiera Hogan is incredibly underrated. I think she's really great. Taya Valkyrie has just exemplified champion. Tessa Blanchard, yourself, like, I look at that and I'm like, that's 4 really good pillars to have for a division. And they signed Tennille Dashwood, too, that has somebody with WWE exposure. Do you see them maybe building the show around women even more and more as things go on?
Oh, for sure. I mean, at Slammiversary, they had the main event was an intergender match. So I think they're definitely starting to like build the women just as much as the men at this point. Like we're side by side. It's not like the women's division is under the men's division at all.
Yeah.
They're giving equal like opportunity, and they're putting eyes on both products.
Did that surprise you how all in they went on all this? Because, I mean, they've had fluctuating regimes, to say the least. So any vision kind of got erased after a year or so. It looks like things are on track with Callis and D'Amore. They haven't went anywhere for a while. They seem to have a pretty distinct vision of what they want to do.
Yeah, I think they have a really distinct vision of what they're gonna do, just by hearing what they say in the talent meetings and like hearing what they say to me personally. Like, I'm super excited in the direction everything is going, and I think people, maybe they're not gonna be surprised, but they're gonna be like really like happy with what's coming up.
So who do you look at in that company and you're like, man, I got to work with them, male or female, whoever it may be, and you're like, I just got to get in there with them?
So me and Tessa, we really, really want to tag team, and we want to challenge for the tag team titles.
Yeah.
And I think Ethan Page and Josh Alexander,
that's
I think it would just be an incredible match. I think it would just blow it out of the park, and I think that'd be awesome to see. I don't know if they've ever had like an intergender tag like championship match like that, but I think that'd be really cool.
I mean, I guess to some degree, because Eric Young held one of the Knockouts titles, but that was a little bit different. None of you were playing
comical.
Yes, none of you were playing comedy characters.
Yeah, exactly.
So when you look at that, is that something that you've taken to Impact and been like, hey, we wouldn't mind doing this?
Oh, did you, I actually made a tweet. It was me and Tessa. I did a Snapchat where we like stole the
oh yeah.
And I recorded us, and then I had like Ethan walk over or whatever, and I was like, oh, put him back. And I was like, oh, management said if we get over 1,000 retweets on this, they might give us a tag title. They didn't really say that. They didn't exactly
those tweets
say that
are always fake, though.
in those words, but it got almost 2,000 retweets, so I think people really want to see it.
Yeah, so intergender wrestling is a big thing. I mean, it does bonkers traffic online, too, so I see why a lot of indie wrestling companies want to do that as well. Tony Khan said he wasn't necessarily a fan of your spot at All In. What did you think about that?
I think that it's his company, so he can do whatever he wants.
Sure.
I don't agree necessarily with what he said. I also don't like domestic violence. I'm really against that, but I think he's also sort of new to the wrestling world, and so maybe he doesn't understand it entirely, which is totally okay. And I think that maybe once he sees like some proper intergender wrestling, he might change his mind. I'm gonna turn this off because it's like blowing up. Sorry.
Yeah, I'll wait until you sold me on the bear hug as a finisher. The first time I interviewed you, I was like, bear hug as a finisher. What's up with that? And you're like, yeah, I eliminated people out of a battle royal with that too. What made you flip the switch and say, I'm going with that? I'm doing that.
Man, I'm gonna be straight up honest with you guys. Like, my cardio is not the best. And I saw the bear hug and I was like, you know what? I think that's believable. I think it's believable that you can like squeeze the life out of someone.
Yeah.
And also, I don't have to run or really pick up anybody. I could just like stand there and hold them as tight as I can and squeeze as hard as I can. And I think that would be an awesome finisher. And that's kind of how that went.
Well, I mean, and if you ever want to switch it up, I always have these vivid memories of when I was a kid when China ragdolled Marlena.
Yeah, exactly.
And
there's
that was horrifying.
A ton of different ways to do it. And like I said, I did win a battle royal with that. I had the girl on the outside, and I did the bear hug until she passed out, and then I just dropped her to the floor.
Yeah.
So there's creative ways to like make it work.
Impact World Championship, is that a goal of yours?
That is absolutely a goal, 100%.
So, I mean, I think a lot of people, they see that and they immediately think, well, if Tessa would have won that match and become champion, oh, is she just going to face men? Why wouldn't she be able to defend that against other women?
I think that's kind of what they're going for.
Yeah.
I personally think that they just need to make all titles inclusive of everybody.
Really?
I don't think there needs to be any separation at all. You know, me and my fiance, we argue about this constantly because he does not like intergender wrestling.
Yeah.
He thinks that it should be like a special attraction, and I don't necessarily disagree with that, but I don't really think it's fair to call it a special attraction because I feel like we should just be able to do whatever we want. In this wrestling world, women can be just as strong as men.
Yeah.
Like, it's not fair that Rey Mysterio can wrestle Big Show and it be totally, like, okay, and someone like Jessica Havoc can't wrestle Petey Williams. It's not fair to me.
Who do you look at outside of maybe who's signed as, like, maybe Impact could bring them in? I mean, there's Diamante out there. Ivelisse just got the AEW thing. Jazz did as well. Yeah. Mercedes Martinez is the name that always gets brought up a lot.
Yeah, I don't know what exactly is going on with Mercedes. I thought she was like going to be a coach at the Performance Center, so I'm not sure what's going on with that. But I know she's retiring really soon. But I think if Impact offered LuFisto something, I think that would be awesome. I think that she definitely needs that. She's been wrestling for years. She's a veteran in the business, and I think it'd be awesome to have her there. I think it would definitely change her mind on the retirement thing.
So after you signed your new deal, you're locked up at Impact Wrestling. How was that when you go back there? Because, I mean, you had some pretty public negotiations there. Was there any sense of awkwardness, or are you just like, hey, got paid, got my...
Yeah, there was. I mean, I didn't feel any sense of awkwardness at all. Like, no one mentioned it to me in person. It was just like, just going back to work. I mean, I don't think it was a big deal at all.
You bet on yourself there, like heavily. You rolled the dice. And
I was terrified. I don't think I've ever been so scared in my life because... I mean, I could have gone anywhere. Like, I really, really, really wanted to stay with Impact.
Yeah.
But if they weren't going to give me like what I thought was fair to me, then I was going to leave.
Yeah.
And so I just decided, like, I'm going to stick with this, and whatever they say. I was like waiting on a phone call back because they were like, "Oh, okay, we'll talk about it. We'll have a meeting." And I was like, "Man, I'm so nervous." And they called me back within like 5 minutes and told me, and I was like, thank you.
That had to feel good that they called you back that quick. That had to make you feel like a priority, right?
Yeah. That's what I love it there. Seriously.
Yeah. And I mean, with the level of talent that is there, I mean, it's not hard to see why they'd want to retain you because they want to stack that talent because let's be honest, quite frankly, if that didn't work out, you're not at any loss of places to work.
I definitely don't feel bad or guilty about pressing the issue because I think people need to negotiate for what they feel they're worth. And I don't think they need to just sign a contract right off the bat just because they're offered a contract.
And, I mean, did that make you feel more secure that you heard that? And, I mean, that had to send also a pretty positive message to that women's locker room. Like, this is a woman who's important to us, and we made sure to lock her down. Yeah. Maybe when we should have earlier.
Yeah, I think maybe, but a lot of these girls are already locked into contracts.
Yeah.
So
I know Kiera signed a new one recently.
Yeah, she signed a new one recently, and I hope she got what she wanted. But it's not as public, it's not as open between all the wrestlers as I think it should be. I think that we should all be like just talking about it and seeing what's like fair to each other. And I think we should all be getting what we're worth.
Do you think that that's going to adjust more because? Just as things stand this week as we're filming this, Impact's on TV, Ring of Honor, MLW, NWA just announced tapings, AEW, WWE. Not just WWE, they've got like 4 brands right now.
Yeah.
Do you think that's going to become more public among people backstage?
I think so. I hope so. There's a lot of people that don't want it to be, though. All these like differing minds and opinions in wrestling, they're always going to clash. So I guess we'll just see what the future holds when it comes to that.
And as I mentioned, NWA announced that they have TV. How, like, with not just them, but all these companies, how does that affect Impact? How does that affect you? Because, I mean, even though you're signed with Impact, you do work other companies. You work a lot of indie dates as well.
Yeah. I think it's great that there's all these TV shows now and all these different promotions getting TV, because all it does is creates more opportunities for people. Like, and if my Impact contract comes up in a couple years and I want to go somewhere else, like, I have all these opportunities to go other places, and I think that's awesome.
Yeah. So as we look at that and we look at all these places that there are to work, how do you think that adjusts game plans? Because as I mentioned, it does seem like Impact focused a lot more on women's wrestling. MLW doesn't have a women's division. Yeah. NWA, I mean, they've got a champion, but not a roster of people. Like, what kind of strategy can you see Impact taking to really capitalize?
I think Impact is going to go this more, like I said, this more liberal. What's the word?
Inclusive. Maybe?
Inclusive, maybe just like they're just doing like crazy stuff that I guess other promotions aren't even thinking about right now. This intergender stuff, Tessa going for the world title, like, I don't think any other promotion has ever even like
outside the box stuff.
Yeah, exactly. So I think Impact is just going to go that route, and they're going to go hopefully 150%.
Yeah, and as we mentioned, the entertainment aspect of this and how it's viewed as a show, do you think that that's like the mentality they're going to take? Like, it's an entertainment show, why not?
Yes, I think, didn't they just have like someone run over a kid?
Yeah,
so I think they're definitely going to do that. I don't know, you might see me, don't take this out of context, but you might see me cooking meth in a kitchen one day.
Okay, the kid was in the audience in the next shot, I think. And Eddie, I think it was Eddie Kingston, I'm pretty sure he ran over Roman Reigns last week as well. Eddie Kingston doing the damn thing. Man, so we look at that, we look at the way that Impact's going, and it seems like the roster, like, my God, that roster is insane.
It's stacked, right?
Yeah.
It's crazy. It's like, I feel like it's like all the misfits that never really got like their comeuppance.
And now when their contract's coming up, everybody's like, hey, what's up?
And then I feel like Impact got a lot of like eyes on people, and then people are like seeing that how good these people are. Like the Rascals, I don't know if anybody knew who they were before Impact, and now they're like these superstars, basically. They're doing crazy stuff every single show.
This iteration of the most recent iteration of LAX became one of the greatest tag teams in the world under the Impact banner, and got all these bookings. What are you looking forward to for the rest of 2019 in Impact, outside of Impact? Because I mean, they have you doing some other dates outside of that as well.
Yeah, well, outside of wrestling, I'm excited for Bound for Glory. I think that's going to be cool. Like, I'm not going to say what's going to happen, but I think you should
just say. You should give us the full rundown. Give me the script. I'm ready for it. You can transcribe the script. You can go to them and be like, "Listen, Scott, I'm ready to transcribe this. CC Sean at Fightful.com. Let's do it."
Anyways, so outside of wrestling, I'm actually taking the whole month of December off.
Like, oh, really?
I don't think Impact's running at all. And so I'm not going to be leaving my house for probably 3 days straight. And I'm looking forward to that the most, to be honest. Not that I'm trying to push like the year by, because I have like, you know, some incredible matches coming up and I'm going a lot of different places, but I hate flying. Like, it stresses me out to no end, and I'm just ready to just like relax for a month.
But that's a luxury that not a lot of pro wrestlers at your level have been afforded. They can't take a month off.
Yeah, and that's also one of the reasons why I wanted to, you know, get what I thought I was worth with Impact, just because even though I'm not wrestling for that month, I'm still, you know, guaranteed to be able to live my life.
Yeah. Let the people know where they can follow you on social media before we wrap up.
You guys can follow me on Twitter, Instagram, Facebook. All of them are at Jordynne Grace, JORDYNNE, or Trisha Parker.
Guys, leave that thumbs up. We're out.